Good morning everybody. Today is Christmas Eve 2023, and this is Grandpa Bob. We have a very special show today, and instead of covering the normal legal and political landscape, we're going to entertain you with some poetry and some Christmas cheer. We're gonna start things off where they always have a white Christmas, in Dawson City, Yukon. Here are the gold miners of 1898 are celebrating their first Christmas in the Klondike. And so on this special day we will present you three wonderful poems from famous Canadian poet, Robert Service.
The Spell of the Yukon by Robert W. Service.
I wanted the gold, and I sought it. I scrabbled and mucked like a slave. Was it famine or scurvy, I fought it. I hurled my youth into a grave. I wanted the gold, and I got it. Came out with a fortune last fall. Yet somehow life's not what I thought it. And somehow the gold isn't all. No, there's the land, have you seen it? It's the custest land that I know. From the big, dizzy mountains that screen it, to the deep, death-like valleys below. Some say God was tired when he made it. Some say it's a fine land to shun. Maybe, but there's some as would trade it for no land on earth, and I'm one. You come to get rich, damned good reason. You feel like an exile at first. You hate it like hell for a season. And then you are worse than the worst. It grips you like some kinds of sinning. It twists you from foe to a friend. It seems it's been since the beginning. It seems it will be to the end. I've stood in some mighty-mouthed hollow that's plumb full of hush to the brim. I've watched the big, husky sun wallow in crimson and gold, and grow dim, till the moon set the pearly peaks gleaming, and the stars tumbled out, neck and crop. And I've thought that I surely was dreaming, with the peace o' the world piled on top. The summer, no sweeter was ever. The sunshiny woods all athrill. The grayling a-leap in the river. The bighorn asleep on the hill. The strong life that never knows harness. The wilds where the caribou call. The freshness, the freedom, the farness. Oh God, how I'm stuck on it all. The winter, the brightness that blinds you. The white land locked tight as a drum. The cold fear that follows and finds you. The silence that bludgeons you dumb. The snows that are older than history. The woods where the weird shadows slant. The stillness, the moonlight, the mystery. I've bade him goodbye, but I can't. There's a land where the mountains are nameless. And the rivers all run God knows where. There are lives that are erring and aimless. And deaths that just hang by a hair. There are hardships that nobody reckons. There are valleys unpeopled and still. There's a land, oh, it beckons and beckons. And I want to go back, and I will. They're making my money diminish. I'm sick of the taste of champagne. Thank God, when I'm skinned to a finish, I'll pike to the Yukon again. I'll fight, and you bet it's no sham fight. It's hell, but I've been there before. And it's better than this by a damn sight. So me for the Yukon once more. There's gold, and it's haunting and haunting. It's luring me on as of old. Yet it isn't the gold that I'm wanting so much as just finding the gold. It's the great, big, broad land, way up yonder. It's the forests where silence has lease. It's the beauty that thrills me with wonder. It's the stillness that fills me with peace.
Pullman Porter by Robert W. Service.
The porter in the Pullman car was charming, as they sometimes are. He scanned my baggage tags. Are you the man who wrote of Lady Lou? When I said, yes, he made a fuss. Oh, he was most assiduous. And I was pleased to think that he enjoyed my brand of poetry. He was forever at my call. So when we got to Montreal, and he had brushed me off, I said, I'm glad my poems you have read. I feel quite flattered, I confess. And if you give me your address, I'll send you, autographed, of course, one of my little books of verse. He smiled, his teeth were white as milk. He spoke, his voice was soft as silk. I recognized, despite his skin, the perfect gentleman within. Then courteously he made reply. I thank you kindly, sir, but I, with many other cherished tome, have all your books of verse at home. When I was quite a little boy, I used to savor them with joy. And now my daughter, aged 3, can tell the tale of Sam McGee, while Tom, my son, that's only 2, has heard the yarn of Dan McGrew. Don't think your stuff I'm not applaudin'. My taste is Eliot and Auden. So as we gravely bade adieu, I felt quite snubbed, and so would you. And yet I shook him by the hand, impressed that he could understand the works of those 2 tops I mention, so far beyond my comprehension. A humble bard of boys and barmen, disdained, alas, by Pullman Carmen.
The Harpy. By Robert W. Service.
There was a woman, and she was wise, woefully wise was she. She was old, so old, yet her years all told were but 63. And she knew by heart, from finish to start, the book of iniquity.
There is no hope for such as I on earth, nor yet in heaven. Unloved I live, unloved I die, unpitied, unforgiven. A loathed jade, I ply my trade, unhallowed and unshriven. I paint my cheeks, for they are white, and cheeks of chalk men hate. Mine eyes with wine I make them shine, that man may seek and sat. With overhead a lamp of red I sit me down and wait. Until they come, the nightly scum, with drunken eyes aflame. Your sweethearts, sons, ye scornful ones, 'tis I who know their shame. The gods, ye see, are brutes to me, and so I play my game. For life is not the thing we thought, and not the thing we plan. And woman in a bitter world must do the best she can. Must yield the stroke, and bear the yoke, and serve the will of man. Must serve his need and ever feed the flame of his desire. Though be she loved for love alone, or be she loved for hire. For every man since life began is tainted with the mire. And though you know he love you so and set you on love's throne, yet let your eyes but mock his sighs, and let your heart be stone. Lest you be left, as I was left, attainted and alone. From love's close kiss to hell's abyss is one sheer flight, I trow. And wedding ring and bridal bell are wisps of woe. And 'tis not wise to love too well, and this all women know. Wherefore, the wolf pack having gorged upon the lamb, their prey, with siren smile and serpent guile I make the wolf pack pay. With velvet paws and flensing claws, a tigress roused to slay. One who in youth sought truest truth and found a devil's lies. A symbol of the sin of man, a human sacrifice. Yet shall I blame on man the shame? Could it be otherwise? Was I not born to walk in scorn where others walk in pride? The Maker marred, and, evil starred, I drift upon his tide. And he alone shall judge his own, so I his judgment bide.
Fate has written a tragedy, its name is The Human Heart. The theater is the house of life, woman the mummer's part. The devil enters the prompter's box, and the play is ready to start. The Men That Don't Fit In. By Robert W. Service.
There's a race of men that don't fit in. A race that can't stay still. So they break the hearts of kith and kin. And they roam the world at will. They range the field and they rove the flood. And they climb the mountain's crest. Theirs is the curse of the gypsy blood. And they don't know how to rest. If they just went straight they might go far. They are strong and brave and true. But they're always tired of the things that are. And they want the strange and new. They say, could I find my proper groove? What a deep mark one would make. So they chop and change, and each fresh move is only a fresh mistake. And each forgets, as he strips and runs, with a brilliant, fitful pace. It's the steady, quiet, plodding ones who win in the lifelong race. And each forgets that his youth has fled, forgets that his prime is past, till he stands one day, with a hope that's dead, in the glare of the truth at last. He has failed, he has failed, he has missed his chance. He has just done things by half. Life's been a jolly good joke on him. And now is the time to laugh. Ha, ha, he is one of the legion lost. He was never meant to win. He's a rolling stone, and it's bred in the bone. He's a man who won't fit in. And now, we discuss the most popular letter to Santa ever written. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
Dear Editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says, if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus?
Signed by Virginia O'Hanlon.
Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age. They do not believe except they see. They think that nothing can be which is not comprehensible by their little minds. All minds, Virginia, whether they be men's or children's, are little. In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect, an ant, in his intellect as compared with the boundless world about him, as measured by the intelligence capable of grasping the whole of truth and knowledge. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist, and you know that they abound and give to your life its highest beauty and joy. Alas, how dreary would be the world if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment, except in sense and sight. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. Not believe in Santa Claus. You might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus, but even if you did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not, but that's no proof that they are not there. Nobody can conceive or imagine all the wonders there are unseen and unseeable in the world. You tear apart the baby's rattle and see what makes the noise inside, but there is a veil covering the unseen world which not the strongest man, nor even the united strength of all the strongest men that ever lived could tear apart. Only faith, poetry, love, romance, can push aside that curtain and view and picture the supernal beauty and glory beyond. Is it all real? Ah, Virginia. In all this world there is nothing else real and abiding. No Santa Claus. Thank God. He lives and lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay 10 times 10, 000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the heart of childhood.
Signed Francis B. Church.
Editor of the New York Sun.
About the exchange.
Francis P. Church's editorial, Yes, Virginia, There is a Santa Claus, was an immediate sensation, and went on to become one of the most famous editorials ever written. It first appeared in the New York Sun in 1897, almost 100 years ago, and was reprinted annually until 1949 when the paper went out of business.
36 years after her letter was printed, Virginia O'Hanlon recalled the events that prompted her letter.
Quite naturally, I believed in Santa Claus, for he had never disappointed me. But when less fortunate little boys and girls said there wasn't any Santa Claus, I was filled with doubts. I asked my father, and he was a little evasive on the subject.
It was a habit in our family that whenever any doubts came up as to how to pronounce a word or some question of historical fact was in doubt, we wrote to the question and answer column in the Sun. Father would always say, if you see it in the Sun, it's so, and that settled the matter.
Well, I'm just going to write the Sun and find out the real truth, I said to Father.
He said, go ahead, Virginia. I'm sure the Sun will give you the right answer, as it always does.
And so Virginia sat down and wrote her parents' favorite newspaper.
Her letter found its way into the hands of a veteran editor, Francis P. Church. Son of a Baptist minister, Church had covered the Civil War for the New York Times and had worked on the New York Sun for 20 years, more recently as an anonymous editorial writer. Church, a sardonic man, had for his personal motto, endeavor to clear your mind of cant. When controversial subjects had to be tackled on the editorial page, especially those dealing with theology, the assignments were usually given to Church.
Now, he had in his hands a little girl's letter on a most controversial matter, and he was burdened with the responsibility of answering it.
Is there a Santa Claus? The childish scrawl in the letter asked. At once, Church knew that there was no avoiding the question. He must answer, and he must answer truthfully, and so he turned to his desk and he began his reply, which was to become one of the most memorable editorials in newspaper history.
Church married shortly after the editorial appeared. He died in April 1906, leaving no children.
Virginia O'Hanlon went on to graduate from Hunter College with a Bachelor of Arts degree at age 21. The following year, she received her master's from Columbia, and in 1912, she began teaching in the New York City school system, later becoming a principal. After 47 years, she retired as an educator. Throughout her life, she received a steady stream of mail about her Santa Claus letter, and to each reply she attached an attractive printed copy of the church editorial. Virginia O'Hanlon Douglas died on May 13, 1971, at the age of 81, in a nursing home in Valencia, NY.
Merry Christmas everybody, and stay tuned to talkradio.ca.